7, the road trip is underway, all thanks to RAA, your ultimate road trip companion. We took the journey up the Horrocks Highway, the bumpy journey to the Clare Valley, and we're arm's reach. It's an hour and 40 minutes away from Adelaide. One of the other fun elements of getting to do a trip like this is meeting the locals, meeting some characters and getting to learn a little bit more about the areas we're travelling to. And a big part of that yesterday was the wonderful Dave from Clare Valley Tours. If you are coming to Clare, just look up Clare Valley Tours. Dave's face is on the website. I looked at it this morning. He saw the 5AA car with our faces on the side. He wants his face on the side of his car now, Dave. He's on the website though. I can tell you, clarevalleytours.com.au. If you are coming here, you won't get a more thorough view of what the whole valley is all about. He does a wonderful job. He's a very funny man, and we sat down with him for a chat yesterday. Well, we are still on the Clare Valley Tours bus, having just completed a tour of the Watervale area, Clare Valley and surrounds, and we're joined by a tour guide extraordinaire, Dave, who's done a wonderful job, not just teaching us about the Clare Valley, but actually just putting up with us for the afternoon. Dave, it's good to have you on the program this morning.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's been a bit of a chore. We're not on a bus, we're actually in the Kia.
Oh, is this the... Okay.
Kia.
The people mover.
The people mover.
The people mover.
But no, it's actually a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming.
I'll tell you what, I feel like I need a people mover to get around after that very thorough tasting we did earlier at Mitchell's. That was terrific.
Oh, they look after you out there. They're one of the best. A great family-owned and operated winery, one of the best in the Clare Valley, and I'd say known Australia-wide.
We've been making the point throughout the day about the Clare Valley and how you sell it to people back in Adelaide. That there's a familiarity with the Barossa Valley, what you're getting. There's a familiarity with McLaren Vale and some of these other wine regions. We have our own thoughts on this. We've spoken about it in the past. David and I both come over here separately and love the place for a whole host of different reasons. But given you have people, and this year more than any other, from Adelaide all the time coming up, often for the first time, what do you hear as the reason why people really enjoy coming to the Clare Valley?
They come up here initially to just get away from the city, and then when they get here, especially if they've come on a tour, I didn't realise there was so much to do. I didn't realise there was so many wineries. I didn't realise there was so much history. I didn't realise how pretty it was. And it just grows and it grows. And Clare's still a agricultural rural community. We're not encumbered with corporations, and it's family businesses. And that comes through with the authenticity of hospitality, meals, accommodation. Just comes through. Genuine.
So, Dave, how long have you been doing the tours? Because you seem to be this, you're a walking, living, breathing historical document yourself in terms of...
Oh, indeed. Indeed, I've been called an oracle before.
An oracle?
An oracle, yeah. That was Sir James Hardy once, I would drop a name there. No, I've been doing them for 8 years, Dave.
Yeah, right.
I was a wool barber before that, and I was a grave digger before that.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, I was. The doctors have come on the tours, and
plenty of work for grave diggers in Clare.
Indeed,
there's cemeteries, there's churches all over the place.
We just had this guy and a doctor on, and I told him I was a grave digger. He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, I used to bury your mistakes."
I half killed my son at a Gaelic. Is it Gaelic Cemetery Road? We stopped there on the side of the road to get out and look at all the old headstones. This was about 5 years ago on a family driving holiday. And I'd parked the car on an angle, and as he got out the door, slammed so hard on his thumb, I thought I was going to have to take him to hospital. But that was one of our road trip adventures on a family holiday to Clare a few years ago.
Nothing like a good road trip. I said, you were sensible. You were stopped. It's when they've got their fingers stuck in the door and you continue down the road. That's always a little bit of a problem. But that's great parenting.
Yeah,
teaches resilience.
Exactly. Character building.
One of the things you've been at pains to explain to us today, that there's certainly the wine reputation of the Clare Valley area, but the history is incredibly rich. The South Australian history, the Australian history. What's the one fact that people back in Adelaide probably don't know, that haven't been here, haven't been on one of your tours, that don't know about the history that they probably really should as South Australians, do you think?
Oh, Clare was instrumental in the set-up of early South Australia, especially the north of South Australia. Clare was the most northern settlement right up until the 1850s. There were squatters settled further north, but they were mainly, huge holdings, and people were going out for work. There were no towns as such. There was definite exploration. There were definitely people out into the Flinders and the Eyre Peninsula, etc., etc. But Clare was the last holding, the last bastion, so to speak. And when Clare was early days, it was an orchard. It was also called the Garden of the North, and Clare supplied a lot of fruit and vegetables, meats, bacons, eggs, hams, etc. into both Burra, the Burra mine, and when that petered out over into Wallaroo and Moonta mines, and also down into Adelaide. We're just steeped in history here. We've got the Jesuits. We're sitting outside the Jesuit church at the moment.
That was amazing going there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the stories of how these guys got here and what they did and where they came from, the tie-ins with Mary McKillop, George
sort of tells the whole history of South Australia, because Will's got his Polish ancestry, I've got my Cornish ancestry, and everyone sort of had a bit of a presence through the area. It's very, very diverse and reflects the whole history of the state, doesn't it?
Yes, well, Clare's history is English, Irish, Polish, and all encompassing. We were set up mainly as a Catholic village here with the Jesuits, but Gleeson was one of the first in here as the founder of Clare itself. Horrocks was the founder of Penwortham and the Clare Valley. He was Anglican, Gleeson was Irish Catholic. Yeah. So we're back into those two main bases, and we go from there. Lots of crossovers.
It's been a hell of a rollercoaster 2020 for tourism. There's been periods where no one can travel, and there's been periods where people in South Australia can only travel in South Australia. What's your experience been as a tour operator in that environment?
The first part of COVID was absolutely devastating. We didn't work for 3 months initially and then had a very, very slow 2 or 3 months. The last 2 months have been very, very good. As a whole, tourism for the valley, COVID's been a little blessing. It really has been a silver lining. It's moved people up here that wouldn't have normally come here. The tourist promotions comparing world venues, destinations into South Australian destinations has worked extremely well. People want to get out and explore. Excuse me. Clare Valley is a 2 or 3 hour drive, depending on what side of Adelaide you're on. It's a weekend destination, and people have been coming up and discovering that. There's a lot of people who've actually been staying for a week. As a tour operator, the last 2 months, as I said, have been good, but it's been very, very slow prior to that, and it would be great to see people come up and get on the tours and actually take home an experience that we can offer that they wouldn't get anywhere else.
Well, I've been here 3 times, Dave, in my whole life, and I've seen more in the 4 hours we've been driving around with you today than I have in the combined three trips I had last time, mate. It's been terrific.
Yeah, thank you. There's a lot more to see. We're central to a lot of the other regions. You can go across to Burra, and there's the heritage region over there with the mines. The Pink Lake over at Snowtown, Loch Hill. We're an hour and a half from the river. Loch Ness Monster's over there, yeah. The tyres haven't shredded at all. They're wonderful.
One of the modern marvels of the world, that thing. Terrific.
Well, it was. And, there's a shark and the whale just out of Burra.
Yeah.
So, another modern wonder of the world.
That's right.
How did a whale get to Burra?
Part of our brand, Dave, is we gratuitously and unreservedly like to boost South Australian businesses and things that are owned by South Australian people. It's part of the whole reason we're on this wonderful tour of South Australia all this week is to shed a light on people doing a wonderful job like you do. We've been lucky enough to get to experience it. Give yourself a plug. How do people get in contact with you, and how do they get to be sitting in the Kia and have that experience that we had today?
Oh, that's really easy. Yeah. Google Mr. Wilson, 2 L's. You've got to have 2 L's. Yep. Clare Valley Tours. Dave at clarevalleytours.com, or simply 0418 832 812. We'd love to see you here. We'd love to show you around the Clare Valley. It's such a wonderful, wonderful place. We get in the car, we have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and we sometimes tell stories that some people don't believe.
Unfortunately, we brought a Doubting Thomas Andy Rusgar with us today.
Yeah, but anyway, most of the stuff we tell is true.
Well, Dave, we've had the best time, mate. Thank you so much.
Good on you, mate. Thank you.
Good to see you up here, and thank you for promoting the Clare Valley and the further regions that you're going to. Good to see you here, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
I don't think it's possible to have a bad time with Mr. Wilson. Dave from Clare Valley Tours, clarevalleytours.com.au.
As Dave said, though, you know, small local business smashed by COVID, smashed by border closures, and good to see that the region's recovering and that people who are running businesses like Dave are getting back on their feet.
Absolutely. All right.